All right. Bujanan Dinaway Maganang, Nicole Matthews Jaganashimang, Manidu Baneshi Indigo, Migazindo Dame, Gawa Babaganakag in Dunjba. Greetings, relatives. My English name is Nicole Matthews, and my Indian name means Spirit Bird Woman. I'm Eagle Clan, and my family is from the White Earth Band of Ojibwe. I'm excited to be here with you all this afternoon. I'm the executive director at the Minnesota Indian Women Sexual Assault Coalition, and we are going to talk about a new project we're working on. So I'm going to pass it off to the rest of the staff to introduce themselves. Afton.
Hamadak Yapi, my name's Afton. I'm the clearinghouse coordinator here at MIWSAC. And so under our board, we will be embarking on the update and revision of our sexual assault advocacy curriculum. Becky or April?
Yes, thanks, Afton. My name is Becky Jordan, and I am our communications and design specialist here at MIWSAC. So super excited to share with you all today and really get the word out about this project. April?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is April Russell. I am the COVID-19 support coordinator at MIWSAC.
Thank you all. So we're going to talk a little bit about a new exciting project to make some major revisions to our 40-hour sexual assault curriculum. But first, I'll talk a little bit about MIWSAC and the work that we do. So we were first started in 2001, funding from the Office on Violence Against Women to create tribal coalitions around the country to address sexual assault and domestic violence in Indian country. And MIWSAC was one of the original 8 tribal coalitions that was formed and really worked within the state of Minnesota to work with tribal advocates in reservation communities and also in urban Indian communities to address sexual violence, including sex trafficking. And since then, we have developed multiple national tribal technical assistance projects. We're the national tribal TA provider on sex trafficking in Indian country in Alaska. So be watching out for our national conference in April in San Francisco. And we just put out a save the date about that last week. And we're the TA provider for the Tribal Sexual Assault Services Program grantees. We work with Project Beacon grantees through the Office for Victims of Crime. We have we are the lead TA provider for Elevate Uplift, which was started through the Sexual Assault Demonstration Initiative. We also have the project through the FIPSA or OFIPS office through HHS, the Tribal Sexual Assault Resource Center project. And then we also have the Tribal Sexual Assault Clearinghouse project, and we're really excited about that project and about being able to look at our 40-hour curriculum that was developed many years ago now in 2011. And really because one of the things that we learned years ago when we started looking at the guidelines around topics and sexual assault training for advocates, one of the things we learned back then was that there was very little information about tribes and tribal people and sexual assault of Native women and children and men and our Two-Spirit relatives. And we learned that actually in Minnesota at that time, it was only optional to have anything included about tribes or about sexual assault against our people in a sexual assault training, 40-hour training in Minnesota. So we decided to create our own curriculum. It was a huge need, and with having more and more tribes addressing sexual assault in their community, wanted something that was really by us, that we could incorporate our tribal histories, the way that, our approach to services, how we want to work in community with people. And so we developed a team, and I will let April talk about this because April worked with us back then as a consultant and really helped to put this put this curriculum together. So I'm going to turn it over to you, April.
Thank you. So yeah, like Nicole mentioned, I was hired as a consultant back in 2011, I want to say, to develop this curriculum, and was really brought together by people, Native people who were really specialized in certain areas, as far as advocate, mental health, just various areas. So we utilized, I don't know how many, can't even remember how many people that was used to develop this curriculum, but really specialized in certain areas, expertise, and they brought forth, their knowledge. And at the time of the development of the curriculum, it was because at the time Minnesota has, and I'm pretty sure it's still the same, but Minnesota has certain topics that need to be used, or they have to include, the 40-hour has to include certain topics. So that's what was used, and it's more like an introductory kind of level as far as the curriculum. So that's kind of how we based it off of the Minnesota, the guidelines for Minnesota. So utilizing our native, expertise, our native experts. So yeah, it, facilitator guide, participant guide, and it was done in a lot of meetings, a lot of coordinating through meetings and online emails and drafting of, different formats. And so it was needed. It was, it was a really nice experience and a nice, really nice tool, and was really happy to be a part of it. Thank you.
And those guidelines are under the privileged communication statute. So in Minnesota, sexual assault advocates, if they complete the 40-hour training with certain, there's required topics that have to be presented, and then there's optional topics. If they complete a 40-hour curriculum that has that, a 40-hour training, then they have privileged communication with victims. And that's really where we got that list from, was looking at that list of required and optional topics. But since then, that was a long time ago, 2011. I think we, released it in 2012. We were doing pilot trainings, and a lot has changed since then. We're going into 2024. And there's been a lot more emerging topics and issues. Our world has changed. Our approach to things has changed. And many things, are still similar when we look at, being a good relative with victims and with our, people in community, but also like looking at how are we expanding to ensure that we have comprehensive information for our two-spirit relatives, and how are we really looking at some of the intersections and emerging topics. So really wanting to make sure that this curriculum grows as we all grow and changes with the times and with our movement. So I will turn it over to Afton to talk about the scope of the work and what we're hoping.
So within the Clearinghouse project, we're developing a repository of information that kind of encaptures both existing issues as well as emerging issues. So the development and revision of our 40-hour fit right into it. And so one of the things that we'd like is to develop an online format that could be offered on our national clearinghouse. So people from home, from other locations that would previously not otherwise to participate with a facilitator or participate in person can still receive the information. So that is one of the goals for Clearinghouse MIWSAC, as well as everyone who has otherwise used it before. So a little about the scope of the work. If I am going too fast, please let me know. So for the curriculum revision updates, we would like the applicant to review all 20 modules to assess content accuracy and cultural relevance, identify areas requiring updates based on changes in laws, statistics, and community needs. And that can be done through existing resources, existing references, while maintaining a balance of empirical evidence. So that would be updating any statistics that any reports that recently came about, or whether it's something as reflecting on what are some statistics that represent now, because there are a lot of outdated information, and that is kind of the general lay of when it comes to sensitive statistics, especially around Native folks. So making sure that they're reflective, as well as revising the curriculum facilitator guide, appendices and PowerPoints, and review enhanced materials used, and anticipate bi-weekly check-ins with the project coordinator. So that would be myself. And so really utilizing the opportunity of community discussions, roundtables, and gathering input from folks to kind of identify what are areas of need. Because really this is to serve, I got all anxious now, to serve our survivors. So that is about it for the scope of work.
Well, and I think what's so cool about this opportunity too, Afton, is that like we're trying to kind of like cast our net broadly, right? And look for, like April said, I think it takes a lot of different folks to have input on this. But we're really looking for someone who can kind of help take the lead on that. Like really, come to us with a proposal on how you can do the work. And we have it all outlined, and Afton's going to share all that information. But we know it's a big job, and it's not just one person can do it, but we're really kind of looking for like who is out in the field, who is, interested in doing this kind of work, who's, maybe working on something similar and wants to, kind of expand, to connect with us, check out the call for proposals and, kind of dig in. I think, reaching out to Afton is a great way to start if you're interested. And we're just really trying to kind of get the word out, because I think this is one of those curriculums. I know before I came to MIWSAC, I was able to go through it, and I've had many other colleagues go through it. And I think what's been so awesome to see is like the evolution, right, of how you all kind of got things started, like you talked about, and then all of the in-person trainings that were happening for how many years. And then because of COVID, right, having to kind of shift to do some things online, and what that has meant, because I think that has allowed, I think there was a training where Christine had like 300 people or something registered. I remember her saying, and so I think it's just so exciting and such a great opportunity, not only for advocates and, folks who want to do this work, but for someone to kind of get involved in supporting in a way that is like has a lot of impact. So I think it's such a cool opportunity, and I'm really excited to see kind of who we meet in the process and who comes forward and like what we learn. So
Yeah, I'm excited too. And, pre-COVID, I don't think we ever would have imagined that we would be doing so many online trainings, but that's really been, our world has shifted in that way too. Like we're doing a lot more virtual training. So the idea of having a virtual platform or online platform to take the curriculum is not unheard of anymore, because so many of us are doing our trainings that way. So I think it's also really exciting to be able to have this that sits on the Clearinghouse website, to look at maybe, we have stuff on there on prosecution and law enforcement, on sexual assault laws. We have historical context. We have, sexual assault against, our elders, and sexual abuse by spiritual leaders. And we have many, many really useful topics, and also wanting to expand it. So it's being able to be used more nationally, right? So it's, certainly we started in Minnesota. That's where our home base is. We will always have our Minnesota coalition. And that's really the heart of who MIWSAC is. But also our Clearinghouse project is a national project. So wanting to be able to have this accessible to tribes across the country, and for people to be able to utilize it, from all over. So Afton, do you want to talk about how they can submit an RFP or a proposal for this?
Sure, and we can share out the link following the live as well. But for the proposal, we would like an example of previous work related to curriculum revision and writing. Complete and signed application that includes a short narrative about your interests, as well as some areas where you may not feel as confident areas. We want to make sure that we're really gathering a lot of different applicants with diverse experiences. So while you may feel confident in one area, we're also there to support you through the whole project. And that there is a lot of areas of expertise that you may have, and there may be areas that you don't. But as a community, while working through this, we can really make sure that we're reaching our objective. And also we would like 2 references and a cover letter, kind of introducing yourself, your work, and your intent in the project. And for compensation budget, we have up to $15,000 to complete the project. So we just like that to correspond with your application. And that is due January 5th before 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this is open nationally. So please share it with your networks. I know it's just right over the holiday break, but I think it would give you an opportunity to kind of like ruminate and get some ideas about what you'd want to add and spark some creativity and ideas as you approach the proposal. So we 100% welcome sharing this with anyone who might be interested. And it could be emerging writers, just making sure that you're really putting in a proposal that can capture something that's aligned with our goals. And then we'll process the award notification January 19th, and our project will complete on June 14th. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at adelgado@MIWSAC.org. And I believe when you click on the CFP, it should take you to my contact information. Yes.
And I will make sure to post all of that information and have everything in the comments of this video as well.
And if for some reason something comes up, we do know it's over the holidays, so and it's a tight deadline. So if something comes up, like please reach out to Afton and communicate that with her if you're hoping to send a proposal, but it won't be till the following week. Like we can be flexible too, but we really just want to get moving on this project. And so we can really, get this project going and be able to release a new curriculum in the summer of 2024. So with that, thank you everyone, and please share this video, share the link, let Afton know if you have more questions or reach out to one of us. And we're excited to see the proposals and to see, what we can all put together and dream up together to create a new curriculum for sexual assault advocacy. Chimigwich and happy holidays, everyone.